Good morning, everybody. It is Friday morning, November 15th. It's 11:10 in the morning, and this is called Bender Lake. I am in Corning, Iowa. I've been here before. I came here about 2 months ago, and I went down there. I filmed down there, like on a little strip of island where it separates two lakes, and it was too windy, so I never drove down here to the boat ramp. I just ended up there and just turned around and went home. It was really windy that day. I think I bundled it with Hacklebarney. So here's the boat ramp. There's my car, the parking area. You'll have to forgive me, I'm kind of sick. I got this weird thing going on in my throat right now, and it really hurts. I feel okay. Well, actually, I don't feel okay. You know how when you're sick, everything just kind of aches? My arms feel like jello. Like I'm really tired and I don't feel well. But I wanted to get one more lake in before the season was over. And today it's supposed to be 65. Right now it's about 61. So it's nice out. Excuse me. A little bit of a breeze, but it should be a beautiful time. There's a little bit of a breeze. You can see like on the water over there, but I should be okay. Before we get going, three things. So on my last lake, Twin Rocks, or Twin Lakes, Rock County, well, before that, as you guys know, Bessie is no longer with us. I had to throw her away. If you guys saw the last video, I found like a little tiny pinprick at the bottom side of her, and there's no way I could have saved her. So, I bought one of those heat guns, plastic heat guns, and I just made it worse. The whole bottom strip of the kayak was just paper thin. And that's over 7 years of dragging her through parking lots, dragging her down roads, dragging her through the grass to the boat ramp. But I think what really did it was, you guys normally don't see this. When I come into the boat ramps, I try to kind of go up the boat ramp so my feet don't get wet. Well, I think it's all that butt scooting that I do, and it just finally wore down that strip. It didn't help that I tied her to the back of the car and drove her through parking lots. That didn't help. But I think what the big thing was me butt scooting out of the boat ramp into the lake and then coming back in. And it just, 7 years, 187 lakes I did with Bessie. That's a lot of lakes. So that brings me to the second point. The second point is, well, let me go grab my list so I can tell you guys correctly. I don't want to give out false numbers. I'll be right back. So I should know this, but I don't. There's just so many numbers and so many lakes. So according to my list, I've done 156 Nebraska lakes. Now, it took me a while to get that number because a lot of parks or lakes that I've gone to, it has more than one lake. So if I'm like Twin Rocks County, that was 2 lakes. I did them at separate times, but I believe there's 4 other parks where I got in on a lake, but then there was another lake in the same area, the same park. It was called the same lake, but it was 2 separate lakes, 2 separate boat ramps. I am counting those as 2. Before, I counted it as 1, just to kind of like, I did the whole area, the whole lake, But no, it's actually a lake. You know, it's actually, you have to get out and put your boat back onto another separate boat ramp. So I came up with the number 156 for Nebraska. For Iowa, 15. I've done 15 Iowa lakes. This will be number 16. For Kansas, I've done 2. South Dakota, I've done 6. Minnesota, 3. Missouri, 1. Wyoming, 1. And 3 rivers. Now the rivers that you guys have seen are the Platte and the Elkhorn. I did kayak the Niobrara River, but it wasn't on video. It was like when I first started, and I went with my family, and that's kind of what got me going, was that trip on the Niobrara River. And I dumped. That was the only time I've ever dumped. I kind of got to a little bit of a waterfall, and I hit my brother in his canoe, and I flipped. And yeah, that's a whole funny story in itself. But anyway, what I've come up with total with Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, South Dakota, Minnesota, Missouri, Wyoming, not including the rivers, 187 lakes over the last 7 years. I started in 2018, I want to say. So, wow, 187 lakes on Bessie, with Bessie. I'm disappointed because I really wanted to finish Nebraska with Bessie, but that was my goal, just to get all the Nebraska lakes done with one kayak. It didn't happen, you know. Oh well. I really wanted to fix her, but there was no way to fix her. So that brings me to the next point. I have 35 lakes left to do in Nebraska. Now it's probably 30 or 31, because I think 3 or 4, maybe 5 I can't do. From Google Maps, it doesn't look like it has a boat ramp, and it looks like it's you can't get on it. So, but with that trade-off, I just found 2 more lakes that are pretty close to where I live in Omaha. So I'm not gonna say this is the last lake of the season, but I looked at the forecast. 30s and 40s next week. Excuse me. 30s and 40s next week, and snow. It's supposed to snow next week. So bringing me to this point, I've always wanted to kayak when it's snowing. Like, obviously the water won't be frozen. It'll be like a 40 degree day. It would just be beautiful if I was kayaking and it was snowing. And these 2 lakes that I found are pretty close to Omaha, like within an hour drive. So I'm gonna keep an eye on the forecast, and if it's supposed to snow and the water still isn't frozen, I'm gonna get out there and do it. How cool would that be? That would just be a beautiful scene. It'd be cold, but it would be really pretty. My third point, I bought a new kayak. So I did a little bit of research. I didn't get too crazy with it, but I did know that I wanted to stick with Perception. I love Perception kayaks. Well, I've only had one, and it lasted me 7 years and 187 lakes. So I figured let's stick with Perception. So I've been having this conversation with friends and family, and they were like, well, you should reach out to Perception and tell them what you've done, and they could give you a free kayak, because you sponsor them every time you go out, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get it. And I was told to reach out to the regional salesperson for Omaha. And, I actually looked up the guy, and I was going to email him. I thought, you know what? Nobody owes me anything. I'm not looking for a free handout. Yeah, it would be cool to be sponsored by Perception. I advertise them every time I go out, but I'm not looking for a free handout. I do this because I love to kayak, and it's my passion. So I did not reach out to the regional sales rep for Perception. I found a kayak in Omaha that I liked. Now, I bought Bessie at Dick's Sporting Goods in 2018 on July 4th. I think she was $250, super cheap. I found one at Shields in Omaha. Perception. Dick's and Shields are the only retailers in Omaha that sell Perception kayaks. So they didn't have what I wanted at Dick's, so I went out to Shields and I found what I wanted, and it was on sale for $400. I mean, come on, that's cheap. You know, if you want a good kayak, you can spend up to $1,500. So I wanted to stay kind of what I had before. You know, Bessie was 9.5 feet long, and it was perfect. It was perfect for sitting on top of the car. It only weighed 43 pounds. I could drag her across parking lots, you know. So, and she tracked pretty well. And you know how it's, you know, you call it muscle memory. You're so used to like driving a car for so long, you just know how it works. You know how it drives, you know how it brakes, you know how it steers. So with Bessie, it was all muscle memory. I just, you know, I knew how she steered, and I knew how to paddle it, and I knew what she could handle. So this will be interesting with this new kayak. I'm kind of nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little nervous trying her out, or him out, whatever. I haven't decided a name, but let me show you what I came up with. I'll show you what it looks like on top of the car first. So this is called a Perception Sound 10.5. So it's a foot longer than Bessie. I think it's about maybe a ½ inch wider. It's not much wider than Bessie, but you can really tell that it's longer. You know, it fits quite a bit quite a bit over my windshield. Before, Bessie was like, you know, right in here. But and before, when I was driving, I kind of had to lean forward and make sure that she was still on top of the car so I could see the nose or the hole. But here's what she looks like. It's all camo. They only had one color, and the salesperson told me I took the last one. So this is it, you guys. A Perception Sound 10.5. It's different. Now look at the back here. Isn't this weird? It kind of looks like a Lego. It's a little different. It's got a flat back, a little bit of a wider back, probably for stabilization. Now I've looked up videos on this kayak. Everybody loves them. Now again, this is a fishing kayak. It has a bunch of fishing holes for rods in it. It's got a lot of things where you can put attachments on it. As you guys know, I don't fish. I just go out on the lakes and show you what they look like. But I might use those holes for maybe camera mounts. So having that said, there it is. Let me take her off the car and I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, so here it is. Here's the Perception 10.5 Sound. It's called the Sound. You see the cladding, the badge there. So I haven't taken this kayak out at all. I sat in it last night for the first time in my garage, and it felt pretty good. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of room in this, in what, the cockpit? Is that what you call the cockpit? There's a lot more room. As you can see, I already put a sticker. Already tagged it with Stone Kayaking. So the back here, you know, Bessie had a hole right here, like a hatch. I never, excuse me, I never used that. But this is interesting. You see these two holes? You can see right through them. So, you know, as I looked at this online, I thought, man, I kayak a lot of windy lakes, and what if the water gets in here? It would just sit and pool. Well, no, these are two holes where the water just drains out. It's kind of cool, kind of a cool idea. These two holes right here are for rods. The seat, this is interesting. So when it sits on top of my car, the seat actually bungee straps to the kayak itself, and that pulls up. I sat, like I said, in the garage in this kayak, and it was actually really comfy. But I'm still going to add my butt pad to it, and I might still put my square flotation pad right back here for a little more stabilization on my back. And this right here, this makes the chair go up or down, the seat. I have it up as far as it'll go. So the problem that I found was Bessie, this area right here was flat. It was a flat surface, and that's where I put my camera mount with the suction cup, and that's the view that you guys always saw. Well, this is at an angle. So let me grab this here. Wow. Hey, my throat hurts. I'm sorry, guys. Really hope I'm not getting sick. So this, I kind of tested this in my garage. I'll put this right here. And then of course everything gets tied down so I don't lose anything. Try hard to do this with one hand. So that'll be the camera view. You know, right here. Pretty much the same as the last time. It'll be the same view. Kind of goofy. There was a screw right here, so I put green tape over it. I was afraid that you guys would see, you know, the sun is shining off of this screw and reflecting back into the camera, so I put a piece of green tape over that. The other issue that I came up with, see, these are all new things, you know. This right here, this is the arm that you guys see when the camera's on the end of it. This is the view that you guys see when I'm kayaking. So this, that would clamp right there, but it actually clamps back here. Well, this is also something new that I'm gonna like. This is the knee pads, the leg pads. That'll be nice because my knees were always scraping up against, you know, the inside of the cockpit on Bessie, and kind of wears you out and kind of hurts your knees. So this will be nice, but the downside is this can no longer clamp on here. So, but it will clamp right here, you know. I mean, that works, but it's not far enough out. And the other thing is, if the water's clear, I like to put the arm down with the camera so you guys can see. Boy, the bugs are really bad. It's weird. You guys like this. I like to show you guys the clear water with the camera right here. And usually the water's about right in here. Well, that's not going to reach. So what I did was, hold on a second. Let me take this off. Boy, the bugs are just biting the heck out of my ears. It's kind of bizarre. So what I did was, you know, the 3M pads, the sticky pads, I put that right there. And then the camera would just go onto here, and then I can twist it down, you know, or I can twist it out so you guys can see me when I'm kayaking. What I had to do with this is get a zip tie and zip tie this so I can clamp this onto here, because this is kind of a weak point right here. I don't think this is gonna last long. I really don't like this. If that falls into the lake, I won't lose it. Oh, I'm exhausted. Didn't want to talk this long. But yeah, that's it. This ought to be interesting. And I also noticed when I'm sitting here, to reach the camera, which is right here, I often have to do that, like switch out the battery or just stop recording for a while. That's kind of a reach. It's kind of a reach right here. So again, you guys, this is all something that I'm gonna have to get used to, but I think I'm really gonna like this kayak. I hope I didn't make a mistake in buying the wrong one. I'm gonna make it work. You know, it's trial and error. Oh man, trial and error. It's like I said, it's super comfy. And Bessie, I was kind of crowded in there, so more room will be nice. And it'll be nice also to have all of this room in here. And plus, I didn't show you guys this. You know, this goes all the way back in there, so you can stuff stuff in there. I know a lot of people do kayak camping. I've never done kayak camping, but hey, I might in the future. You can throw a bag back in there and a tent. You can put the cooler up here and strap it down. That's it. The only thing I don't like is this. This is really weak. That kind of makes me nervous. So I might have to clamp it like right here and then have it looking back at me. I'm excited. This ought to be fun. Boy, the bugs. Bugs are really liking my ears. I'm gonna go take some more cough drops. I'm gonna get the cameras ready. Let's roll.